Welcome guys, welcome here to the Simzima channel, aka the Dark Lineal. And yeah, I wanted to really get off my chest really about basically a company that I feel that is really slipping down the hill. It really isn't showing its strength. As you know, as you can see in front of you, DC. Now, before I get into DC, I want to tell you sort of my history of it, and I, why I personally feel the DC characters themselves aren't even for me interesting, and why I don't connect with them whatsoever. Unlike Marvel. Basically, when I first got into it, Batman was of course one of the featured characters and DC characters that I knew, as well as Superman. And obviously you had the Justice League of America. And to be honest, I wasn't really exposed to anything Marvel. All I saw was DC. And I think only Spider-Man, Hulk, and Fantastic Four were amongst the predominant ones that I remember that they were doing in newsagents. It literally was very hard to get any Marvel content. It was all about DC. Wherever you went to, DC was on the shelf, so they stocked a lot of that stuff. And I think during the course of the, you're talking about late 80s, I'd say, that was, DC really were like, the comic book trend was, back then it was really like high, obviously before it went downhill, but it was quite, predominantly, it was like a golden age of storytelling from all characters and all companies. And yeah, and one of those actually DC characters, as well as Batman, who was the only is the only character that I kind of connect with, was a character called the Fly. This character, and basically, he was almost similar to he had almost like a Peter Parker feel, and obviously again Spider-Man was great, but then obviously I wanted to get something who was different, and obviously the Fly, he came along, and I read a few issues and I thought not bad, I thought it was an interesting attempt to sort of create a light-hearted character that wasn't all about the doom and gloom, like from the darkness of Batman. He kind of married between Superman and Batman, in a sense. His characters were in a mode similar to what Spider-Man has, but he himself was a teenage student, and obviously his disguise was to become the Fly, and he would go see as he would in pursuits of criminals. So he was one of the characters of DC I sort of tried to connect with, and slowly it just, yeah, I didn't feel anything of it. And then again, Batman was in and out, but it was only until obviously my discovery of, like I said, the Spider-Man and the Hulk especially, and the reason for the Hulk was he was just an entity, a strong powerhouse. Um, Unlike Superman, I like the fact that the Hulk has his faults. He's not a straightforward character who just shoots off the hip, who is he's all about the righteous way of life. No, he was a fault. He was damaged. Bruce Banner, he was his alter ego. He was insecure. He had a lot of weight for a character, and I love that. I love a character like that. Superman at the time, he was just galvanized to this, godlike figure where he couldn't be touched, and and yeah, fair enough. He was an interesting character, but for those that love him, but and he was supposed to be the sort of righteous way of being, a strong purveyor of right and wrong, but he just, for me, was just boring. He's very vanilla. There was nothing really to really showcase who he was. And yeah, Lois Lane of his life, and his numerous of enemies. But yeah, but my obviously the feature, obviously as you probably saw on the title, of reboot. Of course, as you know, Marvel as of right now are doing very well in the cinemas, and slowly are doing quite well in the comics. Personally, I love the comics. I think they're getting more and more better. The Immortal Hulk, that's a fantastic one. So go cop that. But as people have said, DC, in the comic wise, they sort of have great storytelling, good characters, and well, good written material. Now, with DC's movies, in comparison with Marvel, it hasn't been good. And let's just say it's been disappointing, to say the least. And to be honest with you, um, a lot of the extremist fanboys out there, they really are almost harking on the fact that DC can do no wrong, and that this is their way of this reborn period. But no, it really isn't. Hear me out. Man of Steel. Okay, now Man of Steel off the bat weren't too bad a film. But let's go before that. The Dark Knight trilogy. The Dark Knight trilogy was, for me, was a fine piece of art. It's beautiful, illustrated. Personally, I think they tried to develop the storyline or develop the franchise from then, trying to create Superman Returns, but that didn't fall suit. Although that wasn't too bad either. But yeah, it was unfortunate there. So I think fast forward, Man of Steel came out, and that was supposed to revigorate the whole DC feel. And again, as well as quite a very sort of stark ending, very overpowering, very explosive ending, which took too much, I think, of special effects. I mean, it was not bad, but it definitely was something that I think DC could have went with, and definitely could have developed something much more deeper and bigger. Um, but then obviously with Zack Snyder, and his involvement, as you know, Man of Steel, that was his project. Then he went on to Batman vs Superman, as we've seen, and yeah, that has fallen. That was not the film that we wanted to see, and I don't care what anyone says, but that was a bad film. Um, some parts were okay in it, but all in all, I was very disappointed, especially after the hype that got between the rival with Marvel's Captain America and Civil War, and the words that were said back and forth. And don't get me wrong, I joined in that as well, because I thought like a lot of people needed to be exposed on that, and I think that a lot of the time there was a big hype about Batman and Superman being the top tier characters, but look what happened. And this is in the hands of someone who relied so much on not following the material from the comics. He completely avoided anything of that. Which was so disappointing. So okay, you come off, Batman vs Superman. Obviously, Wonder Woman was a success, not a bad film. Then there was Justice League, and now everyone thought they should have stopped. Everyone should have said no. Do not develop this. Just cut your losses and just not put anything out. Don't put it out. But Warner Bros. DC, they thought, the arrogant self, they wanted to sort of, push on with it. And so they thought, you know what, let's go put it out there. We're going to destroy whatever Marvel come out with, Thor or Ragnarok. Nah, that's going to be obliterated. But that wasn't the case. It didn't even reach. Justice League did not even reach 1 billion. And you're talking about characters that people have known all their life, more so than the Marvel characters. Thor Ragnarok held its own against that. So that would tell you what state DC were in and are in now. So we fast forward now. Obviously, Aquaman that came out. earlier this year, as well as Shazam. Uh, but right now, obviously, with the failures of the other films, and now it's looking like a few of the television series are slowly disappearing. It's all combobulated. And personally, reboot, reboot everything. It's not working. It's not working whatsoever. I don't care what anyone says. Comment in the description, because no, I need to hear why you think it should continue. Because to be honest with you, this is definitely an Achilles heel. Continuing this route, there is no good that's gonna come of this. You can't. It's impossible to keep walking up a hill knowing that you're being pulled down by bad weight. You've got the weight of, for example, I mean, what he did, what Zack Snyder did to Batman vs Superman, completely destroyed anything of what could come forward. And then Justice League really just put the cherry on the top. Yeah, it really is. The television series don't link up well. They don't connect to each other. They just aren't cohesive. I want to see, okay, the stories, some of the individual television programs may have done well. I mean, I heard Swamp Thing was actually a really good series. Doom Patrol, that's a good series. Gotham, I'm not really, I'm not a fan really. No, but no, Shazam, they did well, but no, it just really truly for me personally, I just think it's just been a waste of time. And what really is the fact is that you fans, you are not holding the DC, not holding Warner Bros accountable to say, look, you need to kind of completely reboot the entire franchise, because right now they're killing DC. They're richly are making marks, massive holes in DC. You've got executives who do not care about your property. You do have executives who do not listen to what you have. They think about the money, all in all. They're not worried about continuation. But then again, that's what they've. That's the streaming service, which the DC relies a lot on, is now looking to be in trouble. Again, shows are being cancelled left, right, and center. The only thing, obviously, you've got the animated series, but there's only so much you can go with that. And as far as Batman cannot hold the entire DC franchise on its shoulders. It can't. I love Batman. He's the only DC character who I've got more time for. But all of them, for me, just are not good. It's just disappointing. Reboot. I'm gonna have to do another video to explain the reasons why I just have a dislike, a disdain for a lot of the DC characters. Again, Batman's the only one who I've got almost time for. His whole Batman in itself could literally just be it. If the DC decide to run with just Batman alone, I'll be fine with that. A lot of them are just really just awful, and they just don't do it for me at all. Yeah. Again, I've said all I had to say. Again, I think a reboot is in order. It's a matter of time before people start to realize it, because this is only going to drag things and make things much worse. You keep going, because now you're caught between a rock and a hard place. You've got Wonder Woman 84 that's supposed to be coming out. There's an Aquaman movie that's supposed to be coming. A Trench movie that's supposed to be coming up. That's a spin-off of Aquaman. Shazam 2 supposedly that's been announced. Batman that's going to announce. Obviously, the Joker movie towards the end of the year. I'm actually loving that. I can't wait to see that. But no. Supposedly James Gunn, I've heard, is going to do a soft reboot. How he's going to do that, I do not know. I mean, the man needs a bunch of tricks to conjure up, because really I cannot see how he can do this without acknowledging what has been in the past. If I was the executives right now, I would look at the entire whole slate of your movies and cut your losses right now. Restart, reboot, hire the best writers. I have got a friend of mine, Darwood Grace, who is an avid DC fan, who would love to get his hands on your properties, who would be able to, who would actually do a fantastic job to actually steer DC in the right direction, the direction that the fans want to see. It convinced me to show me what is it about DC characters that are worthwhile seeing, because right now I don't see it. I just see a lot of hype. I see a lot of hype talk saying this, that, the other. I see a lot of Marvel bashing. Again, you can say what you want about Marvel. You can say what you want. But right now, they're at the top of the tier. They're at the top of the mountain right now. DC are looking up. Then there's no way I can see them actually any time trying to attempt to conquer. I'm sorry, they're not even come out of a sufficient phase. Again, what is it about DC that makes their characters so wholesome? Because I don't see it at all. But again, I'm going to make another video to tell you why I don't personally connect with the DC characters. But it's disappointing, it really is disappointing, because I love to see the competition. I love to see what the other company is to the others. I want to see that rivalry, but there's no rivalry right now because I only see one taking the lead, and it definitely ain't your DC. It's you can't rely on the animated series. We want to see a good, wholesome, good, proper movies. We want to see the connection, and I know you guys don't even lecture me that you don't want to see this. You want to see a good connection with these characters. Anyway, rant over, ranty. This is just me just giving my analysis of why I think needs to be done. Reboot. I can't stress it more than enough. Most of these people aren't going to come out and say it, but you need to reboot. Okay, that's me signing out. Sims in UK. Yep. And you'll hear from me soon. Peace.